What's up guys, I'm Sean. Today we're going to talk about track prep. How to get your car ready for the racetrack. Many track day organizers provide a car prep checklist as a guideline for things you should check. They expect you to do a self-technical inspection before you arrive on track, and they make you sign a waiver. If you show up with a project car or a ratty car, they may do a technical inspection themselves to make sure your car is safe on track. Today we're going to cover some of the major items on this list. So the obvious thing is they don't want you to have any kind of leaks, because leaks can cause a mechanical failure in your car, or you can spill fluid on the racetrack and make it really dangerous for other drivers. So you want to use your flashlight and thoroughly check your engine bay to see if there are any leaks anywhere. Just shine the light everywhere slowly, look at your hoses, the engine, the oil pan, the under tray on the bottom, see if there are any stains or any drips, fluid, oil, coolant, anything like that. So with your engine code, you want to make sure that you have enough coolant. If you don't have enough coolant, then you want to add coolant and maybe check if there's a leak. So now that you check your coolant while the engine was cold, you probably want to drive around the block a little bit, make your car warm, and then you want to check your oil. So once you check your oil, if your oil is low, then you want to add oil. The next thing you want to check is your brake fluid. If the brake fluid is low, then that probably means your brake pads are low. So you want to check your brakes as well. So you want to make sure that all your wires look good and clean, nothing loose, nothing cut, nothing exposed, because that can get you a red flag for tech inspection. Now that we checked inside the engine bay, everything looks good. You want to make sure that you look underneath your car as well to make sure that you don't have any fluids that are leaking. Now we're going to check the front brakes and suspension and tires. You want to make sure your tires are good. No holes, no rips, no tears, no punctures, no nails. You want to grab your flashlight, take a quick look at your suspension. Make sure that your strut is not blown, it's not leaking. All the hoses look good. And then you can take a look at your brake pads and do this for both sides. If the suspension's acting weird, if your alignment's off, or if your steering wheel is shaking, then there are probably other things you should be concerned about. If everything feels fine, then your front end's probably good. So we just did a quick inspection of the front end. And now we're going to head towards the rear of the car and check out the back. Very similar to the front, check your brakes. Make sure your brakes are still good. Use your flashlight and check the pads. If your car is cold, you can also check your rotor, make sure there's no lip or edge on the rotor. If there is, that means your rotors are due for a replacement. You want to make sure all your lug nuts are present all around the car. Make sure your wheels aren't cracked or damaged or anything like that. That could lead to something unsafe on track. Now we're going to head towards the tires. Check your tires, make sure your tires are good. Again, no nails, no holes, no gouges. We also want to look underneath the car, make sure that your differential is not leaking. While we're underneath the car, you can also check your shock, make sure that it's not leaking. And the brake hoses, everything looks good. Now we're in the trunk. You want to make sure that your battery is stable, it's not loose, and the connections are nice and tight. So if you have factory seats and seat belts, then it's probably fine. But if you're running aftermarket seats and aftermarket seat belts, then you want to make sure that your harness is tight, it's not ripped, it's not torn, and your seat mounts and seat brackets nice and tight. So you definitely want to run front and rear tow hooks. They need to pull you out of the mud or if your car is disabled. The tow truck is just going to grab your suspension bits or whatever that's convenient for them, and it's going to damage your car. So you definitely want to have tow hooks. So that covers most of the checklists, but you also want to review the checklist to see if you miss anything. If your car is pretty new or stock, then you'll probably be fine. But if your car is a project car or a race car, then you probably want to pay a little bit more attention. Here are the bare minimum tools I suggest. Tire pressure gauge to check your tire pressure before and after the session. Torque wrench to check your wheel lug torque before and after the session. Masking tape if you're not running car numbers. Wheel chalk or a block of wood, keep your car idling in neutral. This is the bare minimum, but of course you could bring more depending on the car. So you should bring a helmet. And I recommend gloves. You don't really need gloves, but I recommend it to keep your hands consistent when you're driving. You should also bring a chair, some shade, some drinks and some snacks while you're waiting for your next session. So I just mounted my track wheels and I washed the car. Now I'm about to load it up, get ready for the track event. When I get back, I'll do a post-track inspection video. If you guys have any questions or comments, let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.